Hello and welcome to another episode of Film Freakz with a Z, the podcast all about movies. Each episode we talk about a specific movie, and we'll get to this episode's movie in a little bit. But first, it's time for the fan vote. That's right, it's Tay's episode, which means the fan vote will be happening the weekend that this movie podcast episode is released. We got 4 hard-hitting movies here, okay? First up is Food Fight, which was recommended by Squid Daddy. We also have Hourglass Sanatorium, recommended by David Lopan. We have XXX, recommended by Player2P2. And for his first time recommending, we have Spy Kids 3D, recommended by Greedy Waffles. So if you would like to vote on any of those movies, make sure you swing on by the Discord, link in the description of most episodes, unless I forget, and you can vote in the Film Freakz section. That's right. All right, folks, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. I am Nope, and I'm here with...
JustKalas. I don't have anything prepared.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. Come on, Kalas. It was so easy.
All right, well, time to get Greedy back on the show. He would have gone with it.
No.
How are we all feeling
I didn't get the memo. Well, besides not getting the demo, I'm doing pretty good.
Demo disc?
It's like, which demo? I don't want a demo. I'm doing good.
I'm going to try and answer as many questions with nope as I can today.
Nope.
Good luck.
Nope. Don't like that.
Speaking of which, Tay, why don't you go ahead and introduce this movie? Nope.
The movie I recommended was Nope from 2022, directed by Jordan Peele. Cast is Daniel Kaluuya, I think that's pronounced.
That's
Keke Palmer.
Good.
Okay. Keke Palmer, Brandon Perea, Michael Wincott, Stephen Yoon, and a bunch of other people. The premise was, what's a bad miracle? Residents in a lonely gulch of inland California bear witness to an uncanny, chilling discovery. So I was thinking about this, and I was like, what do I want to start the conversation on? And I think a good place to start is at the beginning. Because you three hadn't seen this before, right?
Nope.
I'm not.
Nope. Come on,
Kalas, come
on. How confused were you at first, like with just the whole monkey stuff?
I was flabbergasted. Because
my flabbers were gasted.
I was like, am I playing the right movie? Like, this is supposed to be about some people on a ranch and there's something in the sky. There's a monkey beating the person's face in.
Mm-hmm.
My first thought was, so the monkeys are the aliens. Got it.
I wasn't confused at all. I was just like, okay, I was just thinking, okay, how is this gonna fit into the plot of the movie? I was just like waiting for it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't think I found anything like particularly confusing about this movie.
Yeah. Well, for sure. And like I said, it's definitely it's not knowing about the movie much, and like, the whole, okay, I know it's about something in the sky, and then it's just some monkey, and you're like, wait, how does this tie together? Like, for me, like, it was very gripping the first time, because I was like, okay, how does this tie in?
Well, I was surprised of how little it ties into the rest of the plot, though.
Yeah. It was kind of weird to lead with, especially since like there wasn't much else about it. Like, you learn like what happens, but it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and the theming of it ties in a lot, because as we find out, the thing in the sky is an animal, and this whole thing is OJ is this animal trainer, so
Spoiler.
and spoilers, he's an animal trainer. That you find that out in the second scene. And so like it's just all these different like things you shouldn't do with animals, and working with monkeys is one of them. But it also tied into Jupe's story on how he just feels like he's the chosen one because he's survived unscathed from this monkey incident, which is why he thought he would be okay to tame this entity in the sky. So it kind of, like I said, it's not like a huge role, but it does tell you some stuff about what's going on and their character, how their stories are driven, I guess.
I don't want to sound contrarian, but I did think that it fit into the movie pretty well after it got going. I don't know if it needed the start on that scene. I feel like they could have. I'm sure that it's because they needed something snappy to start the movie off with, like, I guess you weren't expecting monkey killing this morning.
Yeah,
but I did feel like as the movie progressed and they got into that whole plot of like, taming animals and the big beast in the sky was kind of starting to be revealed. I thought it kind of mirrored what was happening in the present. With how like the beast only attacks when you're looking it in the eyes, and you need to show it respect, and it doesn't like loud noises. And the same thing happened with the balloons popping and everyone applauding, and the monkey obviously probably because he probably killed the one guy because he was like looking him in the eyes and felt threatened. So I thought that it tied in nicely, and I think Jordan Peele does a great job with his writing style in these ways where it doesn't feel like it should fit, but once you kind of get into the movie and he starts exploring the idea, then it works.
I will say I like the one thing that works with that opening scene is like how it set the mood for the rest of the for the movie itself. I feel like the whole thing is like there's a big mystery, and like there's a lot of suspense and a lot of unknowns that we need to figure out as an audience. And I feel like that opening scene just like really set the mood for that.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I agree with Yemmy. I think it ties in pretty well, just because it is, this animal, training and not looking in the eyes, and the dad guy got beat because he looked the monkey in the eyes, and the kid under the table actually had the little tablecloth blocking his eyes, so the monkey didn't attack him, and at that point he'd kind of come down from his anger. So he was just like, oh, yeah, it's the boy I fist bump with.
I remember this.
Yeah.
I think it's also such an effective part in the movie simply because we've heard like tons of stories of like people having chimpanzees as pets or in like play, and they go pardon the pun, ape shit after a while. And it's mostly because like these are wild animals that people are working you can train them. They're smart, obviously, but in the end, like any little thing could set them off. And obviously, there's been plenty of stories about monkeys just all of a sudden snapping, tearing someone's face off or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I was like, as the other example they use in the movie, Siegfried and Roy. There was that bear guy who was just living with bears, and he's like, "Yeah, bears are cool," and then the bears killed him.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. So animals are pretty dangerous.
Yeah, no matter how much time you spend with an animal that lives in the wild, usually like a tiger or a bear or whatever. I mean, there's that inherent fear of like, well, when's the elephant gonna stomp the clown at the circus? Like it could happen.
Yeah.
I was thinking like watching that part, especially just not even animals that we're not supposed to quote unquote have, in the house or train, but like even dogs. Like dogs get so territorial and so aggressive. Like I hear so many instances where families have like babies, and these babies get hurt by the dogs because they are jealous. And I kept thinking of that when I saw like the monkey for some reason. Just
Yeah, no,
animals cannot be
that's
trusted.
fair.
Except for cats, right?
Cats, yeah.
That is
Cats
so true.
I mean,
You can absolutely trust that they will turn on you at some point. Like that is just a given.
Yeah.
So
exactly. I'll say, I mean, out of all the animals I have in this house, I've been bitten by most of them.
Oh, jeez.
Or clawed. You know, the claw, the lizard. You know, they don't necessarily do it on purpose. It's just them. If you're holding them, they try to escape, and their claws are very sharp.
They don't mean to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen a gecko think that a finger was food before.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It does. It does. I'll say I have my one finger right now has a cut on it because I was feeding my bearded dragon, and she thought my finger was food and clamped down and would not let go for a second. I was like, yeah, come on. So their teeth aren't very sharp. They're just got the jaw strength that it just starts to pinch and eventually break skin. So animals, you just gotta be careful around animals. Even the ones you trust.
Right.
Especially if they have the strength of, like, 3 full-grown bodybuilders.
Well, that does beg the question.
Oh yeah.
Who would win in a fight? One gorilla or 100 men?
One
Let's
gorilla.
not. Let's not go down that road.
If you think a chimpanzee is strong,
Yeah, chimps are pretty strong.
they are. Like I said,
Definitely strong.
they're like probably, like I said, 3 times our strength. Gorillas, it's like 10 times our strength.
They climb trees easily and like swing around like it's
Yeah.
nothing.
I don't know if there's a video of like a bunch of photographers, like, taking pictures of some silverback gorillas. And one of them, the gorillas, they're walking by and just reaches out and like doesn't even like no effort, just grabs the one photographer's leg and then just drags him like 10 feet and then lets him go. Just be like, I could kill you. I'm not though.
Yup.
Yeah, you also see the video of like the people. They're like, if the gorilla comes around, you bow. Like you make sure that you don't like do anything that could be perceived as threatening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, for the longest time, like chimps were just like humans' playthings in like TV shows and stuff like that. You would have the monkey dressed up as a clown,
Yeah.
or in this
That's-
case, he was dressed up in like
Justin
suspenders and whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like I said, I think for chimps especially, because they're like, oh, but they're so small. They can't do that much damage. And
They're like,
yeah,
bet, let's go.
Yeah, there was that one movie, Dustin Checks In.
Yeah, Dunstan
Just a
checks in.
kid and a chimp.
Mhm. Actually, wasn't that one an orangutan?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Either way,
Nobody knows.
well, I mean, orangutans are very different from chimpanzees. but-
There's no way to know the difference and no way to look it up.
yeah. Okay, chimpanzees are about 1.5 times stronger than humans.
Wow.
Dang.
Let's see, and gorillas, just 4 to 10 times stronger. Yep, called that
Wow.
one. And last one, orangutans. I don't know how to spell orangutans. 5
Yeah.
to 7 times stronger.
They completely screwed the
Wow.
spelling of orangutan.
I did. You're right.
No, they like
No.
whoever made the name orangutan and spelled it
Oh
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They fucked that so hard.
Yeah, why does orangutan need a U in there somewhere?
Right?
makes
It should
sense.
just be all A's. Come on. And there's no G. Okay. I thought there was a G.
There's
Yeah,
no G?
I thought there was a G.
It's
too.
orangutans.
Yeah.
Apparently. It's just orangutans. Anyways, monkeys are strong. That's all we need to know.
Monkeys are strong, and orangutan spelling is atrocious.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, back to Nope.
Nope.
Back to Nope.
Nope.
All right, let's switch it over to Infinity War. Sure. There was apes in that one, right? No, wait, no. No, we should be talking about
Tay,
Planet of the Apes.
Tay,
Yeah,
are you
there we
feeling
go.
okay over there?
I'm not. I'm recovering from being sick last week still.
Well, it's fogging up your brain.
Yeah, my brain.
I mean, it's like
Yeah,
that's really
too
no
much-
excuse.
Too much cold medicine.
Or not enough cold medicine, I think, was the problem. But yeah, back to Nope.
Nope.
Well, if you keep saying Nope, I figure I'll give us other movies to watch.
So I think, well, I guess it was only you and me, Tay, that watched Get Out on the podcast, wasn't it? Because
Yeah.
damn.
I've seen it.
Well, on
yeah, I watched
I meant on the podcast.
On the podcast. Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
But I guess
Yeah.
since we've all seen it, how would you compare this to Get Out?
I thought this was not good compared to Get Out.
Ooh.
See, that's tough. I like Get Out. Like, I like them both, but I think I like Nope a little more.
I would say I like Get Out more. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I feel like I like Get Out more. This movie worked like really well for me until the final act, which we will get to later.
I felt like compared to Get Out, I think Get Out was the better experience as a package. But I think Nope, in terms of like, if I went by like my favorite scene from Get Out compared to the favorite scene in Nope, I think Nope wins in that scenario, which we'll talk about later. So I think that they're kind of on even footing for me because I do have my issues with Get Out, as in like the just stupid jump scares throughout that entire movie just irk me to my core. But the rest of the movie is like written well and acted well and all that stuff. And with Nope, I think my issue with Nope is the first act it's just a bit plotting. Like once Papa dies or Pa dies, whatever he calls him, it just kind of like meanders a bit until the second act, and then like by the time the second act came around, and the scene that's my favorite scene happened, I was fully invested throughout the rest of it. So
Yeah.
I guess in contradiction to Kalas, I felt like the first act was the weakest part. Well, the second and third act brought it all home.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree more with that. Where the beginning's a little slow and just you're like, okay, where's this going? But then when it all starts coming together, it comes together, I think, real nicely.
And I
just
the
like
mystery of
the
it all
whole.
too.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like I just really like the mystery and like the way it was building in and like the tension it was creating. Like I was really enthralled by it all, and I really like Jordan Peele's direction and like the way he just creates all these little tense moments, and like it just built on the mystery. And I was just like, I guess I was just like really what's the word, immersed.
Mm-hmm.
It's I guess one way to put it.
What'd you think of the scene then when he thought aliens had arrived and it turns out they're just children and he punches a child?
Okay, I'm glad you brought it up.
That scene.
I'm glad you brought it up because I really like that scene.
The first time, I just remember the first time seeing that scene, you're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. The second time, obviously, you don't get that because you know they're kids, but
I should have rewatched it because watching them move around first, like they were not moving like human beings at all. They were the way they were moving just definitely screamed alien, like not human. So
it screamed.
How were they moving like
yeah.
that?
That seems fun. I like how the end how it's resolved where M comes in, she's like, those bastards, well, you stole their horse. Oh yeah, that makes sense. And she just drops it.
Yeah, that's another thing too. I felt like the two main characters had good chemistry together.
Oh yeah, no, they had total sibling like energy. I thought they did really good. And I think because like OJ is definitely coded as having like autism.
Yeah, I've noticed
I'd
like
say,
he's
yeah.
a lot of the scenes he's just like very
Yeah, well, like he has trouble.
nonverbal.
Yeah, he's nonverbal, has trouble looking people in the eyes, and if, I don't know if like it's subtle, but anytime if you notice he's trying to get people to do stuff, they're usually like he's doing the horse direction like hand gestures to like get people to do what he wants. But like yeah, like the fact he gets to the point where like he can look his sister in the eye, you know, like it shows you like okay, yeah, he's here for her no matter what.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Keke
so
Palmer
yeah.
was awesome in this movie.
Oh yeah, I love Keke Palmer.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
know
me
if I've
too.
ever seen
She's
her in
great.
anything else, but I love her in this. So
You've seen her in other things.
I don't know if I have. I don't see a lot of movies unless it's on the podcast. I don't see movies anymore.
Really?
Yeah,
Pretty
so
much.
the only movie that I've watched that she's also been in is Lightyear, and that movie sucked. So
Yeah.
Whoops.
I didn't even see that one. So
Well,
okay,
don't.
well, I wasn't planning on it. Don't worry.
All right, well, don't.
Unless someone recommends it.
Well, don't. Nope. Nope.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
That's the only one that Yemmy would be like, fan submitted it. Nope. They didn't.
I really don't need to see that movie again.
No.
Nope.
Let's see.
Nope. So lots of horses dying in this movie.
Yeah.
A sad thing.
Hated that.
Me too.
Yeah.
But
I do like when the videographer guy comes in, he's like, well, we'll just sacrifice a horse. And the other guy's like, don't suggest that. These are horse people. They don't want to sacrifice horses if they don't have to.
Yeah,
But
I think that horses were a great way to get people invested as well because, I mean, people like respect the fuck out of horses. Like,
yeah.
people like there's people who devote their entire lives to those animals. And
much.
like they've been around and for so long. Like, I think a lot. I just think that it was like. I think the only thing that could have been comparable for people's emotionally to get attached to like an animal would be a dog. Like that's the only other thing that they could have done.
Yeah.
And I appreciate they did the horse because I would rather. I mean, the lesser of two evils, obviously. Take the horse out,
Well,
not the dog.
Yeah, and I think it makes more sense for a horse than a dog. Like just on the scale of this creature, like a horse could maybe satisfy it for a little bit. A dog could not.
Right. Well, then also like the horse dynamic also kind of plays into the chimpanzee opening and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
big floaty monsters because horses can also be a bit unpredictable with like if you stand behind them like that was a whole big thing and I don't know if it's actually I'm sure it's true but like if you stand behind a horse they'll want to kick and all that stuff so they also have some quirks that relate to the theme of the movie as well.
Yeah. Well, and you get that in that first scene with OJ, like at the commercial, being like, "Don't stand there, don't do this, don't do that," and then eventually the guy just comes up and flips the mirror right in front of its face. So it's like, yeah, good job. And
Yeah, I feel like a horse kick was no joke.
Yeah.
That would instantly like kill you, probably.
it doesn't instantly kill you, but it does hurt.
If it's in the head.
If it's in the head, maybe. I'll say I've seen videos of people getting kicked by horses. They did not die, but I have not seen one where they got kicked in the head. So having it kicked in the head, I think that'd be hard because like the way the leg moves, it would hit your body before it would get near your head. You'd have to be like the exact right distance.
Yeah,
And that
be like kneeling.
leg would have to go, kneeling, or the leg just would have to go really, really high, which I don't think they usually do. So, unless they're bucking. Never stand behind a bucking horse.
Yeah, I wasn't planning on it. But,
I've been on a bucking horse before.
well,
I've
that
been on a
sounds like
horse,
that sounds like an
but-
adventure.
It was wild.
I have cleaned like the horse shoes before.
Oh
While
my
the horse
gosh,
was
now
wearing it.
that's scary.
Okay.
It was. Yes. I mean, you kind of like stand next to the horse, so it's not like
Yeah.
you stand behind him, but
Yeah.
No, but still.
Yeah. No, horses and dogs are both at this point, I think, pretty domesticated. That like, well, I mean, it's even the same with some cats. You know, as long as you know cat rules, you can interact with cats pretty flawlessly. But yeah, I mean, even still, sometimes they'll get you in their cute little traps.
horses are actually kind of scary to ride because you don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it, but like when you get on top of it, you're like way higher than you think it would be. And like when
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
never been like on a horse at full running speed, but the one I was on was like doing like a strut, kind of fast, and even that was like whoa, like I better hold
Yeah.
on tight.
Yeah. Although if it's galloping, it's actually smoother than if it's just trotting. So it's actually, I think it's easier
That's
to
true.
actually stay on. But yeah, I would say, as I say, but I've never actually been on a galloping horse either. Just a light trot. Is the
Yeah.
highest speed I've been on.
Oh, yeah. Horses are they're big. I mean, it's the
Yeah.
reason why police use horses in like cities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because they're menacing too. Like especially if they rear up. Just a lot of mass there, a lot of meat, a lot of muscle.
Yeah. And now imagine a camel, which is bigger.
Well, we're not talking about the Mummy. We're talking about Nope, and they have horses in Nope.
That's true. They have horse. No. I'm just thinking, because like you feel really high up on a horse. I'm just like, how high would you feel up on a camel or a moose, which is even taller? Mooses are scary as hell.
Yeah, they are.
And
So
those camels
big.
with those humps,
Yeah.
even higher.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Animals are scary. Why do we have them? Let's get rid of all of them.
No.
Except cats
Except for cats, obviously.
and dogs. I suppose those dogs can stay too. You like dags?
I like dags. All right. Lizards and snakes can also stay.
Goodness.
But only if the snake is, non-venomous and not big enough to eat you.
Well, speaking of
I
eating,
think we need to.
Speaking of
I was
eating,
going to say we should make Ray watch Snatch so she understands the dags reference.
would that be our
I know,
It
first?
sounds like no.
yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
Nope.
it's a good
Nope.
movie.
It is a good movie, but I don't know if it'd be one she would enjoy. Maybe. I don't think she'd hate it, but I don't know if it'd be like a 5 out of 5 for her, or even a 4 out of 5.
Well, speaking of eating,
There you go. Segue.
I mean, speaking to the other people who hadn't watched the movie before, and maybe Tay, you could remember back. What did you think that the coins and keys and stuff falling from the sky were initially when they first, like, when it happened at the beginning of the movie? Because, I mean, obviously you're supposed to think of, like, you know, if it's an alien ship, what are they doing? Just like dumping it out? And I think the idea that they were like the explanation was like, cargo hatch on a
Stunt.
plane opened up and all this stuff petered down.
They said like a prop plane was their explanation.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. So I mean that seems plausible, right? But obviously, as like the watcher, like, oh no, there's something weird going on.
Yeah. Well, especially because, I mean, just from trailers and stuff, like, okay, there's got to be like some sort of alien, even though it may actually not be an alien. But
yeah,
like,
I like the idea of this creature being like an owl, where it regurgitates the things that it can't digest.
yeah, which is what it does, and it chooses when it does it. So, which brings in later on when it gets just really petty and just like, I don't like you or this house. But yeah, what was your thoughts initially as the stuff just started raining down and killing Otis Sr.?
Well, first of all, I was very upset because Keith David is my guy, so I was very upset
Yeah,
to see him go so early.
Aw.
he's a good guy. I like him too.
Yeah. But no, I was like once again, this is just another thing that I was just like, okay, what's going on there? Like, how did that happen? I can't wait to find out more. Like, it's just one of the things that made me like more enthralled into the movie and the story and what was going on.
Yeah, and when they do the reveal of like the X-ray, I thought that was perfect.
Mhm.
Like, because you don't really
Mhm.
know what was petering down from the sky. You just kind of like, oh, well, what the heck's happening? And then they show like the coin was, and then obviously the key in the horse's butt. Like,
Yeah.
so then you realize like,
Ouch.
okay, so it wasn't something like, I don't know, earthly, right? It was something man-made.
Yeah.
So what the heck's going on here?
And he kept the evidence too, the coin.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
kept it. He put it up on his wall.
Just like in Deep Cover, he kept the bloodied
Oh yeah, the
money.
bloody dollar. Yeah.
Yeah.
The scene in the car, like right after that, where like the eye is squirting blood. Ugh,
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was kind of that was a little icky.
it's a little
Little
rough.
icky pants.
Which does beg the question, like, why not start out with that? Why have the
Yeah.
monkey scene at the beginning? 'Cause
I think I would have been more engaged if that were the case.
Yeah, I feel like part of it was like kind of this build up for Jupe's character. Like you're thinking, okay, so somehow he's gonna like do something, and the something he's going to do, spoilers, is die halfway through the movie.
Yeah, that's also a shock too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Yin is like a big name.
Yeah.
He's a big name guy,
Yeah.
and you're like, you're wondering like, how is he going to team up with them to help take this down? And even though like technically he does help in a way, um, with his
Very
like
kind.
giant obnoxious balloon in the
yeah.
park, but it was a bit of a shock, and I think that just is a good note for like, yeah, Jordan Peele knows what he's doing. Like he can write a fucking horror movie. Like he's got
Yeah.
a new one coming out. I think it's called Him, and it's like the one of the first ever
Yeah.
sports horror movies like coming out. And it's like it doesn't matter what that trailer shows because it's just going to be this really crazy wild adventure. And that's exactly what Nope is and Get Out. And I haven't seen Us, but I do intend on seeing it soon.
Yeah, it's on my list to suggest at some point. So
And I think that he
But,
also
yeah.
does a great, like, he obviously, his background is like comedian, right? And I think he
Mhm.
does interject good comedic moments into,
Mm-hmm.
well, at least the two movies that I've seen from him. And it's not overbearing. It doesn't feel out of place. It feels natural. Like that. There's that one part where his sister's like jamming out with the radio being super loud, and I felt like there was a bit of a, just a little bit of a funny tone there. And of course, before it started getting serious, but
yeah,
Yeah.
even like towards the end when the TMZ reporter shows up, like
oh yeah.
when they're like, hey, here's a thought for everybody. What happens to an electric bike when it hits a EMP field at 60 miles an hour?
That's going in the opposite direction.
Yeah, and then just whoop, gone. Yeah, that made
And
me
he was still acting like a douche even after that whole thing happened. So
Right?
it can't make it better.
I feel like that was a little commentary on TMZ though.
Well,
Probably.
no, what?
What's up with that mirror helmet?
Right? So dumb.
Well,
With just like one peephole, like that he can see through.
you feel like it would have protected him from the beast's gaze because there's not like obvious eye holes on it or anything, but
Yeah.
I guess not.
But also, like it attracted the beast too because of the reflective surface.
Yeah.
Just like that,
Perhaps,
the reflective thing with the horse.
Yeah. Plus, OJ was over there at the time too. So, maybe if they had left him just lying there, well, he was screaming. But, he may have survived.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I do. So, okay, well, since we're talking about this scene now, like, I love their idea of putting up all the wavy inflatable arm tube men to track where it is in the sky.
Yeah.
Like, and
That's
some
an
of those
insane amount of them.
right, and some of those shots, like even some overhead shots, you see like OJ on the horse galloping through, and you just the timing to get them to just all fall down like right as he passes. Like it was like I love that scene. I think that scene's just done really well and just is a lot of fun.
Like I remember seeing those wacky waving arm flailing inflatable tube men like earlier in the movie, and I'm like, all right, the way the shot was like showing them, they're definitely gonna come into play later in the movie.
Right?
And surely enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Just
it was
like
smart.
Yeah, no, and even M like very beginning, you know, trying to pitch herself as like an actress slash motorcyclist stunt person and things like that. You're just like I didn't notice that the first time she did that, but this time I was like, oh, okay, so they did actually set up the motorcycle scene at the end. So where we got that badass Akira slide.
Yeah.
I was
As-
so surprised by that. That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, as soon as it
Right?
happened, I was like, I've seen that before.
Yeah, yep. And they did.
That's the thing I would expected the least to come out of that movie is just the Akira slide.
Right? It's just, you know, it's like one, it's badass. Two, seeing it in live action, awesome.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just in random horror movie where Jordan Peele's just like, oh man, I want the Akira slide.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's like it's been the Akira slide has been in like pop culture for like decades at this point, but
Yeah,
I think it's the first time that it has been in a horror movie.
Horror movie, and I think live action. It's usually animated.
It's definitely been some live action ones, I think.
Have there? Okay. Like so, I know I've just seen. Well, no, that's right. I think Dark Knight had one.
Kind of. I guess if you can call that a
Kind of.
Akira slide.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, but yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was very obvious that's what that was supposed to be. And I guess like they actually had to rig it up so like because motorcycles apparently can't actually do the Akira slide in real life.
Trash.
So they had to like rig up on like you can kind of see it in the dust. Like there's this track right in the center of the bike that it's attached to, so it can slide like that. But
Well,
either way,
it was a really
I
cool
love it.
shot.
Right?
Yes.
It's a very cool shot, and I was just like, yes.
Yeah, speaking of like setups, like the camera in the well, I wasn't
Oh,
sure
yeah.
how that was going to really come into play until like the scene that it was happening. I was like, oh yeah, it's not
Yeah.
electric. I
Yeah,
thought
it's
that was really
That was a cool setup.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's not electric. I did even this time. I was like, is the camera even gonna be able to see? It has a very narrow like field of view. Is it gonna see anything? And you know the balloon is rising right above it, I guess. So it's like okay, fine. But yeah, it was. I like I said, just how everything comes together there at the end. I love that. The only thing that bugs me slightly still, I was talking to my wife about it, is the videographer guy like just going like, I'm gonna get the best shot, and he kills himself to get it. I'm just like, like, bro, there's gotta be better ways to do that because that's gonna hurt.
What is it that he said before he went off on his own?
So I guess he was talking about referring to because like earlier on he said something about like being at the top of the mountain or something. I don't know.
Something about the impossible shot is what he said.
Yeah, the
Or like
impossible
we don't
shot.
deserve the impossible shot.
Yeah, something like that.
I didn't fully understand why he said that or what he meant.
Yeah.
I think he said we don't deserve the impossible shot, and then he just went off on his own.
To get the impossible shot that would kill him.
He also destroyed the camera,
Yeah.
which
I was thinking about
defeated
that.
the whole
Like
purpose.
maybe he knew the camera would get destroyed, but like the film could have possibly survived.
Yeah. Well, the creature may have regurgitated it, and it could survive. They could find the footage, but, as we see, this creature clearly has like control of when it digests and like actually consumes the things inside of it. And
Yeah, those people were screaming all day long.
yeah. Some of them it takes a while, as we saw with the TMZ guy. It was pretty damn quick. And I still have to say, we never actually saw him digest the videographer, which means when the balloon, spoilers for the end, if you haven't watched it, what are you doing? But when it eats the balloon and pops the balloon, it bursts its little membranes. The videographer was probably up there at that point.
Yeah, that fall probably killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I think the explosion probably killed him, honestly.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I wish we had seen more of how this beast works. Because like nothing about it really makes a lot of sense when you
when it started transforming,
the anatomy wise. Like it's cool. It looked like it's an awesome creature design, but
right, especially when it's in its like they wanted it to look like an angel, and they nailed it. Does look like some sort of archangel that's just in the sky eating people.
I was getting more of like a mix of an airbag that burst or sheets in the wind.
Yeah.
Is really
yeah, for sure that too.
Just some sort of majestic parachute.
Yeah. Although I like it when it pops out, it's like square
eyeball.
I don't even know if it was its eyeball. Like,
that's the thing.
Display.
I saw it as like it's like an eyeball, and it kind of reminded me of like a camera lens, like a square camera lens or something.
Yeah. No, I thought that too. It never is clarified if that was the eye or if that's just its threat display or if it's the eyeball doing the threat display.
Well, yeah, because like there's a couple of like shots of like assumingly it's inside the beast, and it's just the square looking down. So
yeah.
That's
well,
true.
and then also like you see it like facing M, and then OJ gets his attention, and you see it like shift to the other side.
Yeah.
So like I definitely think it is the eyeball, but it also doing its little flashing thing is a threat display.
Or I guess it's such a weird creature that technically it just could be like just the way that it perceives things through its anatomy, like not necessarily an eyeball per se.
Yeah. Just some sort of lens, like eyeballs.
Yeah, I'm not saying we need to know every like
like
how it works in totality, but would have been more.
I'm saying that. Give me that.
Well, I think it would have been interesting to at least see maybe a little bit more of like, because like even like when it like eats people, it was like raining. Like also, we're going to my favorite scene, but it was like raining blood down onto the house, and it's like, well, does it eat them or does it just like squish them and suckle on the marrow of their bones? Like I'm not sure.
I assumed it squishes them and then gets its nutrients and stuff, but that was the time he was being petty and went, here's some blood for you and some shit.
Yeah, that whole sequence starting with the ranch and like how the beast, like it was revealed that like Steven Yeun was like trying to control the monster, right? Like that whole sequence is what really got me invested in the movie. Like I was enjoying it before that, but I got really invested at that part. And then that whole sequence where it's raining and like the rain would stop when the monster moved over, and then it did all like the bloody house and like all the stuff on it. Like I was like, damn, this is like 10 out of 10 material right here. Like this is what what have been waiting for this entire movie. It was just so good. Like that whole sequence just chef's kiss. Like I could watch that sequence over and over again. Beautiful.
Yeah. So here's some theories of mine. So Jupe had been, like feeding it horses or I guess once a week or whatever, for 6 months. And it's like, oh, it's always on a schedule. And then this time it wasn't on schedule. And it's because M fed it a plastic horse.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a little bit M's fault. But also, Jupe should not have been doing this. So.
Yeah.
Well, that also like makes the one line make sense where he asked for like, I would like to set up a thing to buy it back eventually, and Jupe was like,
Yeah.
oh, buy it back, huh? And I think that because his sister was there, obviously it derailed the conversation, but I think Jupe really
He didn't want to have the rest of that
well, yeah,
conversation.
he fed into it by changing the subject entirely, like a Film Freakz episode, and they went into this whole and they went to the room and stuff like that to really steer the conversation away from all that. So, very clever writing there as well. That is realized later on, like what exactly was happening.
Yeah. And he tried to feed it Lucky.
Yeah, because you think he's just
That
like, oh, he's so
bastard.
vain. He wants to talk about himself on this show. No,
Yeah.
he was feeding into that. He probably
Yeah.
wasn't even going to show her that in the first place, but because of the question, that's why he was like, okay, let's play with this a little bit. Let's get them out of here.
Guess that horse
Yeah.
really was lucky.
That horse was lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it ate Ghost and it ate Clover. Were those the only two we saw get eaten?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 2 horses
Sad.
that we saw. Again, he'd been doing it for 6 months, so that's 8. That's no wait. That's what is that? 4 times 6. 24 horses.
24. Okay.
Oh jeez! But at one point, it did eat a human because they had the coin and key that dropped.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
it ate the hikers that were missing. I don't know if there was
yeah.
it was the new on the radio at the beginning is that there was some hikers missing, and they were looking for them. So, but that also changed. You see it because of Jupe. Its territory was shifting over. It and then ended up eating hikers and Jupe and all of those people. Which is also sad,
Man.
Well, it's especially sad because the one person he ate was like the survivor of the chimpanzee attack.
Yeah,
It's like-
the other, yeah, because it's assumed that both parents died and then the kids both lived, but she got horribly disfigured.
Yeah, and it's like, damn, we picked the wrong day to come out to the farm. Like, goddamn.
Right.
And that veil that didn't really do that good of a job to cover the face.
Yeah. What's funny is, so I was looking up on IMDb and
Well, hold on. I want to comment on what Cal just said because I think that it was the veil didn't cover the face completely because it was like the chimpanzee during the scene where Yin couldn't see the chimpanzee. I thought it was a bit of a throwback to that.
Yeah. But yeah, so Jupe had a kid actor and an adult actor, Steven Yen, and a kid. So I thought that for sure, it's like, oh, well, if the girl's in it again, there's going to be a different actress. It is not. It's the same actress. They just put makeup on the 12-year-old to make her look like an older chimpanzee survivor victim.
Wouldn't have even guessed.
Right? Oh, that's why I kept looking through it. I'm like, who played her as an adult? Why can't I find this? And finally went, oh, it's probably because it's the same actress. She has a bunch of makeup on. You wouldn't be able to tell she's only 12.
That's interesting.
Yeah. As far as I can tell. I mean, like, I never found anything concrete about that, but that's just what the conclusion I came to. Is like, that's why there's only one actress credited to this role, because it's the adult and the child are the same actor.
Right.
So, give her a little more credit. She's barely in the flashbacks.
It's mostly
So
her
do you
voice.
think
Yeah.
do you think that Jordan Peele is gonna do like what they did with between Alien and Aliens, and then he's gonna in a few years do Nopes?
Nopes.
Well, it would be it would have to be a different director. They would get let's see, because it went from Ripley Scott to
Titanic guy.
Yeah, J.J.
James
Abrams.
Cameron.
James Cameron. So we have to find a like comparison where it's like Jordan Peele.
Well, obviously we got Keen, because from Keen and Peele.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
The second one's is a little more comedic, but
His directorial review. God damn, why can't I talk?
Debut.
debut. Thank you.
That'd be hilarious.
Nopes. And obviously, it's just a sky full of these jean jackets.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also a comedy. From like Aliens 1 was a horror movie, Aliens 2 was like a adventure sci-fi thriller, So now we got a horror. Next step is comedy. That'd be fun. I wouldn't mind actually seeing more, like, in this universe.
We need an origin story. Where did it come from?
Right. Well, so that's the thing is, I think, and I think I had this conversation with some friends the first time we saw it. Is like these creatures aren't aliens. They just haven't, they just live in remote areas of the Earth, but
They live in the clouds.
They live in the clouds, and this is where we get the stories of alien abductions and stuff. Is these things eating people?
Yeah.
Who wander into their territory.
Yeah, they designed the look of it in flight mode, I guess.
Yeah.
To look very much like what we perceive as like a UFO.
Yeah.
Or whatever the new thing is for them, which they made a joke about in this movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot what it was. But
UAPs.
UAPs. Yeah, yeah. At the beginning, I was like, "Is this supposed to look like a cowboy hat?" Because they're wearing cowboy hats.
I thought about that too. Yeah.
Some of the reviews I've always said, like, will say things like, a rancher and his family fight off a sombrero in the sky.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it is very hat shaped in its flight mode. But like I said, I think they were going for like a UFO thing, and then
and it moves so fast too.
It does move pretty damn fast and silently and quietly.
Yeah.
Although, like, I feel like if it was based on any, like, or if it was similar to any Earth animal, like, it'd be totally like a jellyfish or a manta ray kind of thing. Especially once you see it unfold, you're just like, okay, yeah, this is like jellyfish anatomy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, jellyfish of the sky.
Yeah.
And it seems to have one mouth, one butthole, so it fits.
Yeah.
Or I should say the mouth and butthole are one and the same.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Because I was like, technically, we all have one mouth and one butthole.
Yeah, but jellyfish, it's all one thing.
It's all. It goes in and out the same place, just like a scab from Borderlands.
Oh jeez.
Don't say it, Cal.
Don't
say it, Cal. If you're gonna veto one gorilla versus 100 men, I'm vetoing the straw theory.
Fair enough. Well, here's a character we haven't talked about. That installer guy from the Fries.
Fries Geek Squad.
Yes, the Fries Geek Squad. He was pretty good. I liked him.
Yeah, I thought that I was gonna hate him, but I ended up loving him.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I didn't like him at first.
Well, yeah. At first, you're just like, who is this guy? And then by the end, you're just like, don't die. And I love that, like, he calls up M to be like, there's a praying mantis on the thing. Yeah, I know. Wait, I told you not to look. Well, I did anyways. Your other camera's out.
Pretty.
And he just like inserted himself into like the whole crew, and like they didn't have a say in it. He just became part of the team.
He's just there. Nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I like the concept of like the cameras when one goes down, the other one's looking in the right place or whatever. It's a good way. In theory, it should have worked.
Yeah,
and it probably would have if the praying mantis wasn't in the way.
Yeah.
Stupid praying mantis. That was one of the jump scares that's just like, oh, come on. You're gonna use a praying mantis? Things are scary enough.
They look they look like the
They look like
average
aliens.
little green man.
Right? Yeah. Ugh. They're babies even more so. Actually, they're
That
babies
was,
kind of like the Matrix robots.
That was a good jump scare when it showed up. And,
Yeah.
like, the Kiki was like staring into at the camera.
Yeah, you see this. I think they handled the jump scares better in this one. Like, there's not a lot. Obviously, it's much less than Get Out, but I felt like they handled the jump scares with more finesse in this one.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, I don't
wish-
mind a jump scare, as long as it makes sense.
Yeah, I do. Like, I'm a big baby when it comes to horror movies. That's why I watched this movie like on a Saturday, like in the middle of the day when it was like bright and sunny out, just in case. But actually, it wasn't really that scary.
No, yeah, this isn't. I wouldn't say this is horror. It's more like a thriller kind of thing.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It's like more of a suspense thriller.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not thinking of baby praying mantises. Baby praying mantises just look like praying mantises, but tinier. I don't know what I'm thinking of. Anyway, sorry. I got off topic again.
Yes, we do.
As we do. That's what we do here on Film Freaks.
Yep.
Surprisingly, we've been more on topic this episode, I think, in a while. So
That's true.
must be a good movie, huh?
Yeah.
Not according to Ray.
Wow. Just
She
Throw
just said
me
she
under
likes.
the bus.
She just said she liked to Get Out more.
I did have a reaction, but after thinking about it, it's like, okay, well, compared to Get Out, if you really love Get Out, then obviously this one's gonna be like a completely different cup of tea,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I said, the reason I think I like this one more is there is just a lot of subtlety, or like, especially on the rewatch, they just like, oh, okay, I didn't realize they set this up or did this or did that, and
Well, why can't we just like them both?
we can't just like them. I like them both.
¿Por
I
qué
said
no las dos?
I like them both. I like Get Out. I like Nope.
For different
But
reasons.
if you made me pick which one I liked more, I would pick Nope. I like Nope. I just like it. Okay.
Yeah.
You like Nope more than Get Out?
Yeah, I did. And again, I like Get Out. Don't get me wrong. I like both the movies a lot. It's not like I'm saying Get Out was a terrible movie. No, Get Out was a great movie. I just prefer, like, if you sat me down, which one do you want to watch right now? I'd be like, I'm going to watch Nope.
No, the first they would be like, do you want to watch a movie? Nope. Are you sure?
Okay.
Nope. Well, what movie do you
Which
want to watch?
movie?
Nope.
Nope. Yeah. And then your friend beats you up, and you have a good laugh about it later.
Look, I love Jordan Peele and his movies, but name these things something that is not just one word.
Hey, Get Out. Get Out was 2 words.
True. But we got Us, Nope, Him. Come on now.
Hey, sometimes if your movie, like, you just pick a word that describes your movie best, and
But think about
You nail it.
Tay, the guy doing the SEO and the tags. What am I gonna do?
Yeah, won't someone
Well,
please think of the person
Yemmy.
uploading these?
Think of the content creators for once in your
Yes,
life.
think of the content creators.
I just do #Nope. They'll figure it out. Also, just put Jordan Peele in there. So,
Yeah,
Jordan
that's what I
Peele
suggested last week or 2 weeks ago.
Exactly. You'll figure it out, Yemmy. You're a smart guy. I believe in you.
Thank you. All right. Does anyone else have anything they want to say about Nope?
Nope.
Nope.
Not me.
Kalas.
I knew it. You know what? And I'm like, I'm happy you're sticking with your guns. You're sticking with the bit.
Should we open the floor to anyone have any criticism of the movie?
Okay. Yes, I forget. I wanted to mention, like, for the final act, the reason why I didn't like it as much is because like, after the big reveal of what this creature was, And like, don't get me wrong, I was still invested in the movie. I was like still glued to my seat. But I felt like when the tension fell away, like it's just there was no more tension, and I feel like the movie did such a good job building the mystery and the tension and the suspense that when everything just fell apart, it kind of just changed the tone a lot. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just like it just didn't work for me personally.
I didn't like I didn't feel like it flowed very well for me. I don't know. I didn't really like
Let's
it.
say that. I mean, the tension was there up until the slide, the Akira slide. You know, she was on an electric bike. Power's going out around her. If it catches her, she's dead.
Yeah, there was still tension, but it's just I don't know. Something about it was just felt different.
There, that's fine.
It's probably because they showed their whole hand.
Yeah.
Like
You know,
now,
it's just
you,
like
now,
in
you,
Jaws
now you
when
know
you
pretty
saw
much
the shark.
everything. Yeah, you know everything about the beast. You know how it works. You know what's gonna happen. Like not what's gonna happen, but you know kind of the dealio. So I guess I can see that.
You know what it did remind me of? Like M. Night Shyamalan's early films before they, turned to shit.
Before The Last
Like,
Airbender.
yes, that's what it reminded me of because M. Night Shyamalan used to like do really good at building up these mysteries and just doing that for the entirety of the movie, and that's what it felt. That's what I felt watching this, except for the final act. It just felt like something different. Still good, but it's just different.
I'm about to ruin a M. Night Shyamalan movie, and you'll never know which one it is. It's Earth. All right. Are we ready to do our final thoughts and rating out of 5?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Nope. Just kidding.
Well,
Oh yeah, I go first.
yes, Tay, take it away.
I'm just waiting for one of you to start. Nope. Nope.
Hey.
Nope.
Negative.
So for the movie Nope by Jordan Peele, like I said, I really enjoy this movie. I think there's a lot of like subtlety to it, like that. Yeah, especially on rewatch, you kind of pick up on that, like all these different things they're kind of setting up. The acting I think was great. The music was great. Yeah, I was maybe a little slow at the beginning, but like at the same time, it was just that's how movies go. You got a world build. You gotta set things up. Yeah, like I said, there's not a lot I can say about this movie that like negatively. Like I think it's just a lot of fun through and through. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I know I'm probably the only one, but that's okay.
It's my turn, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just making sure. Okay. I mean,
Nope.
I didn't think this movie was I didn't think this movie was like terrible. It definitely was not what I was expecting. Like to be fair, I didn't have any expectations really. I didn't really know much about it in general. But I don't think it was I don't think I was in the mood for it, if that makes sense. Like because I like movies like this. I like the thriller kind of like what the hell's going on here type movies, but I just could not get into this one, and I don't know if it was just the pacing or what, but it was not my favorite. So I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
Alrighty.
All right. Cal's is going to have trouble with the average score for this one, huh?
No, I'm good.
So, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it I would probably say I enjoyed it a little bit more than Get Out, but I think in general, I think both the movies are on the same level for me. I thought that the first act of this movie was, just a little bit slow in my opinion after that initial action of the first act. But once that whole sequence in Act 2 happened, I was like glued to the TV. I couldn't stop like watching. So and that scene with I'll say it again. That scene with the house and the blood and the whatever, that's like all-time cinema greatest moments for me, honestly. Like or at least maybe like horror movie moments, because it just really, it just makes my heart flutter when I think about it. That goes down as one of my favorites. So, I thought it was great. The effects really good. The soundtrack was also pretty good in this one. Acting was all fantastic. I'm landed on a 4 out of 5.
Julio. Like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. For me, I really love these types of like suspenseful mysteries and just like trying to figure out what's going on, and like the mysteries just building, and I really, really enjoyed that part. As I said, the final act, different but still enjoyable. But like even the slowness of it, I enjoyed it, because like if you're thinking about a movie like Unbreakable, another M. Night Shyamalan movie, that the whole movie is like extremely slow, but it uses it to its advantage and then like works really well. So I didn't mind that at all, and I really enjoyed this movie, and I will give it a 4 out of 5.
All right, Kalas, give us the average.
The average, surprisingly, is a 4 exactly.
Wow.
No discuss.
Okay.
I guess 2 4s, a 5 and a 3, average out to 4.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That checks out.
All right. It is time for small recommendations. And I think Kalas and I can start this one off with
We can.
Expedition 33. I think that everyone should be should at least be trying that out.
It's on my list.
It's a fantastic experience. And
Oh man.
I know that it's not going to be everyone's like, favorite genre of like turn-based bombastic stories and all that, but I think that it really mixes a couple genres really well. It reminds me of the days when I was a kid and I was playing Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, why not Final Fantasy X?" Dude, I was a kid playing movie games on my GameCube. Okay, I'm like Final Fantasy wasn't even my brain back then. Okay, but it reminded me back. It does remind me of those days, and I think that like the Paper Mario-esque combat system also works to its favor very well. Obviously, it's not exactly the same, but it's similar in a couple different ways. And the story's been great. The graphics impeccable, acting amazing, music fantastic. Kalas, what can you add to these glowing thoughts?
I'd say that even though it is turn-based, I feel like it is bombastic, because like the style is just so cool. Like the way all the characters are animated and the way the battles turn out, it's just everything is like very explosive and action-packed. Even though you're like technically just picking things from a menu, but you're still like so engaged because you're like actively doing the button presses at the right time to make your attack stronger, or like dodging and parrying. Is just you're still very much involved, and it doesn't feel like a typical turn-based RPG. It's much more involved.
Yeah,
it's really good. I'm loving it. It's probably so far my game of the year.
There you go, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been on my list for a little bit, obviously, since it came out. So, planning on getting that soonish when I can.
It's on Game Pass.
Oh, fuck. All right, I've got it. I just got to play it.
Yeah. And even though it's on Game Pass, already sold 2 million copies. So that they're doing something right when the first week of it being, or second week of it being out, they've already sold 2 million and they got to restock the physical copies. So,
hell yeah!
Honestly, I see myself like in the future buying the physical copy.
Me too.
And like maybe going to conventions and like getting it signed, just because like I'm loving the character so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's a character who flies around with bare feet. Come on now.
For all you feet lovers. Well, I have no small recommendations this week. I need to be going here soon. But
Okay.
Ray, if you have a small recommendation, let's go quick. Go.
This is gonna take me a really long time, Tay. Okay.
And I gotta go. See you later. Bye.
No, my small recommendation is try Repo. It's only $10 right now, and I did
Yeah.
it for the first time last night, and it was so much fun. I was terrible at it, but I had a really good time. So that's my small recommendation.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, Ray, keep us going with your next movie recommendation.
Yeah.
And
So
also,
we kind of
Ray, keep in mind that my movie RRR had like the two main leads, a guy in a bike, a guy in a horse. And this movie, the two main leads, one in a bike, the other in a horse. So keep the theme going.
What about deep cover?
okay.
Just
We don't talk about that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
No.
that's not.
But
It was
start
an
of the
undercover
trend.
cop and a lawyer.
You have to pick your next one. Will be the theme. Yemmy, duh.
anyway,
All right, Ray. Yeah. Go.
so my movie, we kind of talked about it a little bit the last time we were on here, but I am picking the 2011 horror action film You're Next. Give me just a second.
Oh.
Okay. The Davisons, an upper class family, are extremely wealthy but also estranged. In an attempt to mend their broken family ties, the two main characters decide to celebrate their wedding anniversary by inviting their 4 children and their children's significant others to their weekend estate. The celebration gets off to a rocky start, but when a crossbow wielding assailants in animal masks suddenly attack, the Davisons must pull together or die. Director Adam Wingard. And I don't know what is wrong with my computer. Okay. Sorry, it was all picks lady. Starring Simon Barrett, Joe Swanberg, AJ Bowen, Ty West, Nicholas Tucci, and Sharni Vinson. Not really a lot of
Yes, that's a lot of no names.
it is, but it is such a great movie. So
All right.
you can watch it
Another
on
horror movie. What?
Yeah. You can watch it on Peacock, YouTube, Apple TV, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I was under the impression that Ray didn't like violence, but this is probably one of the more violent movies that we are going to watch on the show.
This is badass, is what it is. It's more than just violence. It is just straight badassery. So
Okay. I haven't seen this one, so I'll take your word for it.
And how is it in terms of horror? Remember that I'm a big baby?
it's not that bad. Seriously, it's not that bad.
Okay, cool.
Kalas, I just have a question for you.
Yes.
Did you remember to lock your door?
Uh-oh.
Oh, scary.
That was the tagline on Letterboxd. I'm sorry.
Oh,
But yeah, if you don't want to be spoiled for You're Next with an apostrophe RE, don't spell it the wrong way, from 2011.
I appreciate that so much.
Make sure that you watch the movie before the next episode if you want to join the conversation and, tag along. All right, Tay's got to go, so let's end this real quick. Don't forget the fan vote is happening right now. You can vote for Food Fight, Hourglass Sanatorium, XXX, and Spy Kids 3D. Whatever wins will decide our fate after Ray's episode. I have been Nope, and I've been here with...
Nope.
Nope.
Yep.
Oh, we went out of order so bad.
I was supposed to go next. I'm sorry.
Ray was just so excited to...
I got confused.
Excited.
and Tay, actually, yeah.
Yeah, Tay
I was
got
excited.
very
It was
excited.
Tay.
I followed Tay and I was like, wait a second.
Yep. Nope.
Yep.
All right. Bye.
All right. So long.
Later.
Have a good day. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Clean your ass.
Bye.